Oh, forgot.
In minutes, you don't know.
All right, I start over again. Good afternoon, everyone. This is the Plans and Plat Review Committee meeting for March 9th. And for all of the applicants joining us online, please make sure you remain on mute until it is your time for your particular case, or otherwise need to speak, which will help us to avoid any background noise. So PPRC meeting members here in person, be sure you speak up so those attending can hear you virtually. We will start with the city's planner or project manager who will provide a brief introduction and then their comments. Once they are complete, we will facilitate going around the room, at which point the other reviewers will provide their comments. If the applicants have a brief question, do not hesitate to ask, but if it is something that is going to involve a lengthy discussion or follow-up, we ask that you will coordinate with the project manager or the specific plan reviewer directly and schedule some time to have that discussion. This will help us get through all of the cases in a timely manner. And we appreciate your attendance and appreciate your cooperation and understanding. We will start with the first case on the agenda, which is formal site plan review case number 2301. Is Chris.
Good afternoon, everyone. Chris Kimmerly, Urban Design Planner. This formal site plan 2301 is the request by Jason Gunther of Thomas Engineering on behalf of Transit Village Venture LLC in accordance with the city for the temporary relocation of the ITC bus facilities and operations from the Transit Village property at 150 or 134 Clearwater Drive to the Seaboard train station at 205 South Tamarind Avenue. During the Transit Village's project construction. My comments are in the system. I just put them in within the last hour or so. The first half of my comments are referencing the comments made by Anna, Alex, and that were provided to our engineering department previously in August. Many of these comments still persist with the latest plan, so it's just reiterating those initial comments there. The latest and newest zoning comments is primarily dealing with the site design as a whole, calling out the transit-oriented development district requirements, so the TOD 25 requirements there. Section 94-111, the parking and loading requirements, and section 94-113, the landscape and streetscape requirements. Some of the specific provisions that I think are applicable to this site are called out there. And then I also have some requests for additional documentation and follow-ups, which we've discussed, Brian, with our last meeting there. So if there's any other questions or anything that pertains to my comments, feel free to contact me.
Okay. We'll start around the room. We'll start with Vince Noel survey.
Vince Noel surveying. My comments are in the system together with Rick Rosano for engineering services. He's not able to attend today. Any questions, give us a call.
Okay. No, Mark Hurley is not here.
I'm not here today. I did see that his comments are in the system, and my comments as well. Ricky Elizondo, Public Utilities Plan Reviewer, have also been uploaded prior to the meeting.
Okay. Matt, Public Works?
Yes. Matt Hijazi, Public Works. The comments are not in the system yet. They will be uploaded later this afternoon. We'll be asking for some information related to the sanitation service, sanitation collection service. Thanks.
Okay. Tracy Ward, Stormwater?
My comments are uploaded in the system. Give me a call if there's any questions.
Valerio, Stafford?
The transportation review will be provided beginning next week.
Okay. Robert Brown, Dylan?
I passed the review, provided a list of the separate permits that are needed, which will include site lighting, site landscape, site irrigation. I also made a note that parking lot, contractor parking may be problematic, and you'll need to give a construction parking plan to the engineering services department.
We had a preliminary meeting a week or so ago, and I brought that up as well.
Maybe well.
We will make sure that yeah, we were informed. We'll make sure that we beef up and explain a lot of how that's going to work. Chris was very helpful in explaining a lot of that to us as well.
Ooh, it's volume up.
That might be really loud.
That works.
Good Lord.
Brian, could you repeat what you said? We could barely hear you.
It's so rare anyone ever says they can't hear me. I was telling Robert, we had a conversation with Chris, and he explained that we need to do a much better job explaining how all the things flow and the various pieces work, including where those the contractor parking will end up being and how we rotate. We'll also talk a little bit about how it fits within the Transit Village development, because it's really tied into allowing for the development of the Transit Village project, this being that temporary piece. So we'll beef all that up so y'all can see all of that.
Very good. Thanks.
Okay, so Billy?
No comments, I put not required, not for this.
Okay. Peter, is it fire?
Yeah, good afternoon. Fire has no objection to the site plan. However, there was a comment regarding the water supply in that area of the loop, and there can be some discussions, and maybe it might also be tied into the greater development of the transit site. So that might also be part of what could be looked at as well. But you can reach out to me on my email, contact there. I appreciate it. Those are my comments.
Frank Ramsey, landscaping?
Yes, if nobody has heard, I'm retiring at the end of the month, so Smith and Mazial will be addressing any comments that you, I put the comments in the system, but he'll be here to handle any comments. If you have questions, I'll be here till the end of the month, so.
Yeah. Nina? Law?
Brian's smiling.
What does that mean?
Lina Busby for the city attorney's office, no comments at this time.
Okay. Rick, you have any comments?
I just want to mention to this team and all the applicants, we've revised our schedule slightly so it's more of a flow chart. So we'll keep you on the schedule based on the resubmittal date as opposed to more of a linear, you submit on this date, you'll be at commission that date. So the one addition we've made to the flow chart is we're going to do a sufficiency review when you resubmit. We want to make sure that all the comments from the departments are acknowledged and addressed. If in fact there's a request to provide something on a plan or to provide something and the response is acknowledged, we're not going to accept that. We need the comments to be addressed. So we're going to be a little bit more diligent. We're finding a lot of inconsistencies between plans with a lot of applications that come in, so we're going to check that upon resubmittal. And again, depending on when you resubmit, whether it's in 3 weeks or whether it's a month or two later, that'll dictate the schedule which would put you on. So I sent a copy of the schedule to John yesterday, so Brian, he's got it. If you need more, certainly I can send you or whoever needs it.
Okay, I have no additional comments, so Brian, you can contact Chris if you have any comments, or any other the PPRC members, if you have any additional comments, or do you have any additional comments?
I think the meeting we had earlier this week was very helpful. We'll pull everybody's comments. I will just say, this is a time critical, this project in total. I know Valerio hasn't had his comments done, but if they can be done, you know, as early as possible, we will immediately start looking at those as well. If when they're uploaded, you can email us and let us know so that we can make sure we're looking at it right away. Again, it's a critical path for everybody to be able to get this this project developed that we've been working on for so long and everybody wants to have happen. So we appreciate the efforts to date, and we will be in contact with anything else we need.
Okay, all right, thank you. Next case is, former site plan review, case number 1902A, and that is also Chris.
Yep, again, Chris Kimberly, Urban Design Planner. This is for the 401 Datura Street or 445 Datura Street, the Watermark Senior Living Project. This is just a review of the minor amendments to the approved site plan as well as the surrounding landscape plan. Zoning has no comment or no issues with this. The plans match what were submitted within the revised landscape drawings as well as the building permits, and the minor changes are still code compliant. So there is no objection on zoning's end.
Okay, go around the room, Vince.
Vince Will Surveying. I actually failed it because I wasn't sure whether an as-built survey was required for this.
Put the way that, let's just put this in the kitchen. So on the count, put them. Let me see what we have.
Keith, I think Keith, you need to keep off his feet. Need to mute your call.
Put the refrigerator over the one where press the stuff, put the,
Spina, can you mute?
I mean it.
Angela fixed it. Okay.
So anyways, we had failed. I wasn't sure whether an as-built, the survey that was provided was actually the original survey prior to construction. So I saw that this is going to be based on an as-built plan. So I was looking for more of an as-built survey of the project that might show it. So if you could provide that, if it's available, we'd like to have it. But if it's not required for this amendment, then engineering had commented, but I believe there was no comments from engineering, so I believe it was passed.
Okay. Carter, you have any comments?
No objections, no comments.
Okay. Matt?
Yes, Matt Hajedi, Public Works. I passed a review with condition of approval, and the only one that I'd like to highlight is regarding the contractor service, and I provided the link for the approved private haulers that you could get the service from. That's all there is to it. It's fairly straightforward, and that link is actually taking you to the website on the sanitation section of Public Works, and you have the option of selecting any of those 6 approved haulers.
So, hi, this is Brian Terry. I will confirm, but I think that contract has already been set up by the owners. I'm not sure, frankly, who it is, but I can get you that information if it's necessary.
And I did provide the link to the approved list. As long as they're one of the 6 approved vendors, there shouldn't be any problem.
Okay.
Okay.
That's all. Thanks.
Tracy?
I commented that the landscape plans didn't show utilities, and the applicant had forwarded me plans with utilities. I just haven't had a chance to look at this.
Okay. Leo, any comments?
I will post the comments this afternoon.
Robert, any comments?
That's off the review.
Julie?
This already they already satisfied the public art.
All right. Peter?
No objections, approved.
Okay. Right?
Landscape passed.
Oh, Smith? Nina, you got any comments? Any comments from the law?
No, no comments.
Okay, I have no comments, so Brian, I guess you can reach out. Do you have any comments of us? Quick
Yeah, I mean,
comment?
the only one that sounds potentially problematic is Vince and wanting an updated survey. I don't frankly know if there is a fully completed as-built survey at this point in time. Obviously, we're doing the amendment so that the CO can be finalized. So I'll have to double check with CAST, determine if that's been, I'm sorry, not CAST, Verdex, just to confirm whether there's a survey there or not. My opinion is for the sake of for this minor site plan amendment, I'm not sure that it's really necessary, but.
Right, I was gonna ask, what's your target CO date? Friday.
Yeah. I mean, I think, this is one of the very few dominoes that need to fall to make sure that can happen. So, I'd have to talk to Vertex again, expect when they're planning for that, but I know it's imminent, meaning within the next week to 2 weeks.
Okay.
Okay, all right, thanks, Brian.
All right, thank y'all.
Next case is, planning board case number 1663V, which is Valentina.
So this is for a Class A on a private property at 3100 North Flagler. It's an existing dock of 90 feet, and it will extend a total of 120 feet. For zoning, there are no comments.
Okay, comments from zoning, we go around the room. Vince?
Survey has no comments, and I don't believe engineering services.
Okay, Carter?
No comments on my end.
Okay, Matt?
No comments for Public Works. Thanks.
Tracy?
Stormwater and the
Valero?
Should be no comments, but I'll post it this afternoon.
Robert?
No comment.
Possibility, no comment. Peter?
No comment?
Smith? I guess no comment for a dock and no landscaping in the water. Nina, you got any comments from law?
No comment.
No comments from me, Rick?
I'm good.
Can we get right on both of these?
You're not voting that.
Okay, Brian, you go through, you got no comments from everybody, so.
Valentina, is the existing dock in the middle third now?
It's still in the middle one.
Ryan, you have any comments?
When can
Comments,
we,
concerns, questions?
when can we schedule our hearing?
Well, I'll go to planning board next, which is, May 16th, I believe, is the next.
It's on the same schedule I sent to John yesterday, Brian. Same one I
He just
talked about
forwarded
on the
it to me,
first.
Rick. Thank you. Gotcha. I appreciate everybody.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Next, case is planning board case number 770H, which is Alexi. Hold on, Alexi, not Linda.
Okay, so Linda originally had this case. I'm taking over. There's very minor comments. There's nothing major to address. Just, I would say, the clarity on the scope of work. Providing the building setback of the proposed building 3. The distance from the car washing station to the proposed building 3. It's the, and then the,
Does it?
yeah, the other comments were basically standard.
All right, we'll go to Vince.
Vince Well survey, no comments. Engineering comments for Rosano's are, I believe, in their system.
Okay, Gardner?
I had no comments. Mark, I believe, did, and they're in their system.
Matt?
Yes, I requested some information regarding the sanitation collection. And you have my contact info. If there's any specific clarification or question, feel free to reach out.
Tracy?
My comments are posted in the system, and I just remember I need to look at my comments from 2.5 years ago, see if they did anything. That's not how I.
We haven't built anything, Tracy, so probably not, but okay. Valero?
Transportation comments, if any, will be posted this afternoon.
Robert?
I passed the review. There's some informational comments. The demolition of the existing building, an asbestos abatement report will need to be submitted to the health department. Also, the site, the building location is in a flood zone, AE, with a base flood elevation of 14 feet in ABD, so the floor needs to be 2 feet above that for the new building. May be different from the existing, given that the freeboard has changed since that building was built. And I've provided a list of separate panels that are required. That's it.
So the freeboard, just so they understand, would cause the building to be raised an additional 2 feet.
2 feet, so there's 14 feet in ABD plus 2 is 16 feet. For the building and any equipment serving the building.
Okay, so Billy?
So you'll see in my remarks, I put my contact information there. You're right at that threshold. It's not the demolition, but the 3,000 square footage that will most likely trigger the public art requirement, but it's at a minimal. So if you could just contact me, I have my email and my phone number there. I'll walk you through it.
Yeah, I'll coordinate with you.
Thanks.
Okay, Peter Fire?
Good afternoon. Fire has no objection to the proposed, so my comments are more related to assisting in your plan development and submittal. Unless there's a particular question you have, you can reach out to me independently with my email address there at the bottom. That's my comment.
Okay. Smith?
Landscape comments are in the system. They're pretty straightforward. If you have any questions, please reach out to me.
Okay. All right, any comments from law?
None, thank you.
Rick?
I'm fine, thank you.
Okay, I have no comments. Brian, you got any questions of us?
We have no comments, no.
Okay. Good. All right, okay.
Thank you,
Formal
everyone.
document review, level 3, case number 2302, and project plan is Linda.
Public places first.
Oh,
Do work first.
okay.
Do you want to do an intro?
Intro first, and I'll do
Okay, well, okay. Okay, so this is item number 5 on the agenda. It's for a level 3 formal site plan review and special review with variances to construct a 30-story mixed-use building. The mixed-use building will be comprised of 152 residential units and 5,100 square feet of commercial and 1,500 square feet of office. So this project site is located within the boundaries of CMUD on the west side of North Flagler Drive between 23rd Street and Piccadilly.
Okay, well, go ahead, Sibylle.
Okay, so I failed the review based on the fact that in the application process, you need to decide whether you're putting art on site and show it clearly on the site plan, or write a note saying we are choosing the contribution. Either one of those has to happen for site plan approval. So my contact is in there. There's 2 options: either put art on site at 1% of the total construction value, or contribution into the public art fund, at minus 25% of the 1%. So if there's, if you look at the site and you really, it needs to meet a lot of location requirements as well. So I would really look at that, but in order for me to pass your site plan approval, I need to know which option the applicant is going with.
Understood.
Thank you.
Okay, back to Linda.
Okay, so for zoning, my comments are posted online, but I'm going to highlight the more important stuff. So first and foremost, the project name should be changed to avoid any confusion with the Curry Park redevelopment project, which is located outside of the CMUD boundaries, and it's an active application. The next comment is the hardship for the requested variances need to be explained in greater depth. Staff needs an explanation of why the code requirement cannot be met and how the proposed design meets the intent of the code sections for the project, seeking the variance, and any mitigation measures. Diagrams demonstrating compliance with the MU and CMUD regulations shall be included in the development plan. These required diagrams should include the calculations for what's required as well as what's proposed, and the dimensions to illustrate compliance. So the requested diagrams are listed in my comments, and they
include the FAR calculations on each floor level, the open space calculations and diagrams, building length measurements, tower plate setbacks, planar breaks, and so forth. The complete list is in my notes. Regarding the design of the project, staff would like to set up a meeting with the architect to have further discussions to address some of the concerns that were raised during the pre-application meeting, particularly with the ground floor design of the project, including, so some of the concerns with the proposed design is the amount of open space proposed, extending the active use frontage along 23rd Street, and the possibility of providing active uses along additional street frontages. Regarding the improvements on the city-owned Triangle Park, the paved area can be reduced, and amenities such as street furnishings could also be added to make the park inviting as well as attractive. The 30-foot wide Flagler Drive Parkway shall be designed to meet the design criteria for the Flagler Drive Parkway, and that should be consistent with meeting the criteria with all the standards provided in the CMUD regulations. There's also a proposed bike path, which appears to be the existing sidewalk along Flagler Drive. This should be removed. The intent of this parkway is to provide a multi-purpose path to accommodate not just pedestrians, but as well as cyclists. So there's really no reason to why that existing sidewalk should remain in the design. And also check the calculations. The calculations need to be correct and consistent throughout the development plan set. So that summarizes zoning's comments in a nutshell.
Okay, we'll start with Vince.
Vince Noel surveying. My comments are in the system. The main comment being that the CMUD area is currently being reviewed from a utility standpoint for water and sewer because of all the projects coming up in the area. We had met with Rick Rakenis a few weeks ago, so he's aware of it. That study has almost been finalized, but may require some upgrades to the existing sanitary and water systems in the area. Heads up. Engineering, I'm sorry, for Rick Rosano, his comments are in the system.
Okay, Gato, Public Utilities.
I've got my comments in the system, Mark does as well. I just put more emphasis on what Vince just said about the possible upsizing of the utilities in the area, and possible reconfiguration based on the current location of the main and how it may be removed and acquirement of certain land for private use now. There may be some adjustments needed to the current configuration for sewer.
Okay, we'll go to Matt Works.
Yes, Matt Nejati, Public Works, requested some standard information that we look for the sanitation service. And if you have a question, feel free to reach out. Thanks.
Tracy Ward, Stormwater.
My comments are not in the system yet. I'll get them in this afternoon. I did have a question. Is there a landscape plan for the landscape area along Flagler? I just saw foundation plan, landscape plan.
There is, yes. There's landscape plans that cover the up to the right of way.
Okay, Valero Traffic.
The transportation review will be provided by Monday.
Robert Brown Building.
Okay, the building is in a flood zone, and the base flood elevation is 6 feet. You'll need 2 feet freeboard above that for the first floor and all the equipment serving the first floor. Do have basement parking, so that's something to consider forward in the design. Accessible route from the sidewalk. I looked at the site plan. I couldn't see an accessible pedestrian wheelchair walkway from the sidewalk to the building lobbies. Lots of sidewalks going around, but I couldn't see any link from from the right of way to the building lobbies, only for vehicular traffic, and we can't have wheelchair users using the vehicle travel lane to get to the building lobby. Similarly, for access routes between the two towers, there's not a direct link, which doesn't go across the vehicular travel lane or along the vehicular travel lane to get from one tower lobby to the other tower lobby. The accessible parking spaces are shown, but none of them are designated as van accessible, and two of them will need to be so designated. If you are providing EV charging stations, then 1 in 25 would need to be accessible, so you'd have to use an accessible parking space as an EV space, as an EV spot. Not that I saw EV parking spaces, but that's just in case you're providing those. For enclosed parking garages, consider noise attenuation for the fans that are needed for the mechanical ventilation, as we've had complaints in the past regarding the noise that they make. So that's something to consider in the design. The cafe would need a grease interceptor, so make allowance for that. I've given you the contact information for the chief plumbing inspector to coordinate with him. The amenities level, the elevator lobby doors may need to be moved because the doors do not swing in the direction of egress. And they're also very close to the stairs. So there's sort of reconfiguration that might be needed there, or will be needed there. I've provided a list of separate permits that are required. And contractor vehicle parking, please have the contractor submit to engineering services a contractor vehicle parking plan, so that the contractors are making that allowance as they set up their staging. Also, protection of neighboring property during construction, that's something that the contractor will need to allow for. And I've given the contact information for our addressing coordinator regarding the building addresses and also the separate addresses that will be needed for the commercial spaces that have separate entrances on the first and ground floor. That's it from the building.
Okay, Billy is already gone, in disability count, disability first, that's right, never mind. Peter, the Duke Fire?
Yes, good afternoon. Fire has no objections. My comments are numerous. I'm not going to go through them one at a time. They're basically related to assisting in your plan submittal assistance. But one thing I want to call out, and I believe I had some previous correspondence or Zoom meetings with some of the staff about the water supply, fire hydrants and FET locations, and they didn't see these on the civil for those discussions. But if you have any concern, before you submit your civils, I'd like to have an opportunity to look at locations of being proposed for those two things. Particularly, it's under 7A of my comments. And, you can always reach out to me with PDFs and emails to assist with that. Thank you. Those are my comments.
Okay. Smith?
Ray's comments are in the system. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact me.
You're taking ownership? Okay.
They're yours now. Congratulations.
Anything from law, any comments?
No comment.
Rick?
I get two things, just a reminder, based on some recent code changes that were done, like Olara, this will not go to the city commission for final approval. Final approval rests with the planning board, so that'll save a couple months in the process. Secondly, to achieve the height you desire for the building, we've got to complete the agreement for the Northwood Road extension. We've been working with Nancy Urchek. She's got a draft right now. Been working with Vince. We've got the properties being surveyed as we speak to determine the swap of properties that we'll need with Jeff Green. So we'll keep working on that, but we won't hold you up in this process while we're finalizing that agreement and getting that executed.
Okay.
Yeah.
And my only comment in with Linda, it's not necessary for the name of the building is Curry, it's called Curry Park. You're right across from Curry Park, so we just thought maybe it'd be better to get a name kind of separate from Curry Park, but just more suggestion from staff. not necessarily a requirement, just want to avoid confusion with everybody. Brian, you got any comments, concerning questions?
No, I mean, I appreciate everybody's comments. I mean, we've got a, you know, it's a complicated building. There's a very, you know, everybody's got comments here that we'll need to digest, work through our plan revisions, and we'll reach out to you guys individually. Linda, I know that you specifically request the meeting from the design side, so we'll work with Keith's office and get a time set up that works for everybody to come in and meet with you.
Great, thank you.
That it? No more comments? You got one, Keith? Comments?
Everybody. All right, appreciate it, guys.
All right, thank you.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.